Na. Get ready, it's going. Get
Hey
ready.
everybody.
It's going. It's not ready yet. It's not ready yet. It says it's setting you up. Ready, set, and we're off.
Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome back to the Spinning Rack. I'm here with my boy Petey over there. Say what's up, Petey.
Hey, what up? What's going on?
Today we're going to be discussing Marvel's announcement that Jonathan Majors is being the new Kang. Why is that important? I'm gonna pass it over to my boy Petey. Petey, hit it now.
Well, I mean, Kang is actually, Kang is one of the Avengers' early villains. It's one of their big heavyweights, but he hasn't been in the book that much. He's got a couple of big stories. I mean, he's ultimately a time traveler. He's a time traveler from a world that he's conquered, but it's at the end of his rope. So of course he wants to go to the past and conquer a world that looks a little better than his, right? That's his ultimate plan. But the one thing that's a little off here, unless you know what, maybe this does work. Because I was gonna say, hey, what's the name? Isn't Kang and Immortus? Because Kang has different avatars from different periods earlier than
Right.
his. So he has Ramatut. That's a character from an offshoot. It's not necessarily our timeline, but it's where there's a long-standing, like it looked like it was a past, but it actually was a different timeline where the future would be the new sort of Egypt, right? So then you have Kang who rules this topic future, and then you have Immortus, who's the master of the fourth dimension of time itself, and that's the future um, form of Kang, but they all don't like each other. They've all interacted and been around each other. They don't like each other. So each of them have taken sort of their place in Avengers history. Ramatut has been a Fantastic Four villain. And I think in Giant Size Avengers, that's when all of those characters met, at least Immortus and Kang. But Kang has kind of been outside of that story and the initial story that Jack Kirby did, they're kind of forgotten, right? He's kind of forgotten. Secret Wars came around, and that's where I really met Kang, and they killed him off in there very quickly. So it's just like I'm here to see Kang being a part of this, and Doctor Doom just like zaps him and he's gone. So then later Roger Stern comes along and he does, the Council of Cross Time Kangs. There's like four or five of them, and they're planning this thing to take out Immortus. And Immortus and Kang have this big fight. It has a shocking ending to it. And then the next thing, Walter Simonson comes along and does the council and makes it like millions of them. And then introduces the Time Variance Authority, which we've seen a little bit in the teasers for Loki. So this whole thing of time travel could be a big part of the MCU. The only problem is, what Avengers will they meet? And many people have speculated that we will be seeing the young Avengers as the Don't put your eyebrows up as a positive.
I'm not saying it's a positive. I'm not saying I'm a little shocked. I thought it was going to be. Let me let you finish, and I'll give you my
I'm just saying
interpretation.
that's something I've seen the speculation on that on the internet. I'm just saying I don't think like the substitute versions of all of our favorite characters would be something I'm going to line up to see Hulkling and possibly Riri and all these other characters and the new Falcon, Captain America. I'm not right. I'm not signing up to do this. I'm signing up for the Avengers, and I'll wait, even if I'm out of it and I'll be too old for the next set when they finally reboot this thing. But I'm not buying going into seeing a makeshift Avengers with the Hulkling It's half I don't know what he is, so Skrull or something like that, which is mainly Teen Hulk done seriously. I'm not. I would rather just see Teen Hulk. But anyway, ultimately, I mean, he's a. I guess you could say he's a decent actor. He was in The Five Bloods. He was also in. Oh man, we just saw that movie. He's in now. He's in Lovecraft. I like to say Lovecraft Island, and it's a big show that's just like lighting the world on fire. Lovecraft Country. I called it Lovecraft Island. Yes, I meant that. So, but it's like he's the star of it. You know, he's showing more skin in that than the girls in the shows, and that's the way they do these days. So ultimately, he's becoming a big star. You know, I didn't really make much of him in the Five Bloods, but in Lovecraft Country, he's showing some range and that sort of thing. So he could be a good pick for Kang. So it could be fun. And when Kang has a mask on all the time, he doesn't take off that mask, right? But at the same time, they've given a look with a black guy with dark, no, sorry, it's a white guy with dark hair and like sort of curly white guy fro and a beard, beard and goatee. But if he's the same person as Ramatut, they could be correcting it so he has this lineage to a person of color. So maybe it's okay.
All right, but so yeah, you went over a lot. So one of the things though is that we also know about Kang is that, or speculate about Kang is that he is a descendant of Reed Richards. You know, so I think his name is Nathan Richards or something like that. So clearly Nathaniel Richards. So what happens is that he has if he had that original history in Egypt and then moved on to something a little different with Reed Richards and then continue on. Well, so yeah, that's pretty interesting.
I think that one, because I think Stanley and Jack Kirby connected
Ramatut and
Doom.
Mortis.
No, Ramatut. They connected Ramatut and Doom and Doom, and then what's the name? Kang and Mortis was already connected, and Burns said, "Well, that's kind of complicating Doom, right?" So he said he kind of shifted that because Ramatut wasn't sure who his heir was. So he came up with someone that would be connected to him and have some loose connection to the Fantastic Four for that to happen. So it wasn't stated plainly. So luckily we got this whole offshoot to using the time travel thing. It was an offshoot in the timeline, creating this new world that sort of like still had Neanderthals, that they didn't get wiped out. It was like all the stuff sort of went backwards, so you can get Ramatut and that sort of thing. So ultimately,
but that's one of the good things, though. I mean, this is what I'm saying. So we have that Kang was involved with the Fantastic Four, and I think this is one of the things that Marvel is doing is that now they have options. You know what I'm trying to say? You have Kang can be the big bad in one of their crossover Avenger films. Bring in Fantastic Four, or like you were just speculating about something called the Young Avengers. You know what I'm trying to say? They're getting different options.
Lit up. I knew you lit up when you heard that.
So I mean, the possibilities there is pretty slick of what Marvel is pretty doing. I mean, you got to give Feige, the guy's thinking 3 or 4 steps ahead of everybody else, and Kang being a time traveling master, and then all of a sudden you have the Loki film series, which also deals with time travel. You're like, oh,
it's Loki.
Yeah, I see what they're doing, bro. So they may be building this whole. They're building this new generation of Marvel. I mean, of course, I'm dying to see the X-Men come into the Marvel franchise, but this may be a way to bring Fantastic Four, or Fantastic Four has its own standalone movie. I don't know, but this is particularly interesting. And Kang, of course, you know, like the way they built up Thanos over the course of several movies, you know, and they finally had it all paid off with the whole Endgame movie. You're like, wow, that was pretty good. And if they can do something along the lines like that, that may be the overall arc where they go into the future, where they're probably bringing something like Secret Wars, or who knows, change the Beyonder to Kang. Who knows? But I'm just saying that I am hyped, and I think that having someone like Jonathan Majors, who has some acting chops, can definitely do something like that. But I have one huge caveat, a huge one, because I thought we were robbed in the Infinity Stones. We were robbed in who should have been the main antagonist with our friend Thanos. And when they had what is it, not Love and Thunder? Yeah, so it was Thor, Love and Thunder. And when they had Hela,
Ragnarok. You didn't have
Ragnarok. They have Love and Thunder. Ragnarok, when they had
don't wish Love and Thunder on us yet, please.
But when they had Hela, they had her, the actress, a great actress who has won Oscars, and I was like, wow, they're gonna put her in there, and they're gonna make her a crossover into the Infinity Wars, and I was so wrong. She just basically took the money and ran. Not knocking her, she did what she had to do. No one's knocking it, but I just think that
don't let it.
I hope.
Why just let it go?
I'm just hoping I'm hoping that they're not going to do the same thing with Jonathan Majors.
Let it go.
So I'm just saying, I'm just hoping that they're not going to do the same thing with Jonathan Majors, where he's just in there for
For one movie.
Yeah, for the one movie, and if you're going to do it, like bring it up, build it up. I'm trying to say, make the movie. He has the potential to be so big to cross over all the different things. And this is where I say, like, Cate Blanchett, who played Hela, she should have been in all that. Thanos, in the comic book, Thanos is in love with death. Remember that. He's obsessed. And yet
he's in love with death, not Hela.
Well, I'm just saying Hela, the character of Hela basically is death in the Thor universe, right?
Man.
And so that would have been great. So look, all I'm just saying is that, I hope they don't shortchange us by, starting us with Kang, giving us, oh, wow, this is going to happen, and then nothing happens. Because they do that all the time. And I don't want to be, I know Disney's going to get our cash anyways, but God dog it, don't just take us out and just take our money and just throw us to the ground. You know what I'm trying to say? Or you take us out and we go get a cheap pizza, not even pepperoni to boot. You know what I'm trying to say? And call it a day. And you're drinking water because they don't even want a spring for the good seltzer water or the good soda. Come on, give me a break, bro. You know what I'm trying to say?
Well, I would then say that ultimately Marvel is putting himself in a box of having bigger, huger, big crossover, forcing them to do Secret Wars and all this other stuff when they can just do stories. They don't need to do, oh, this whole thing, the whole time is gonna fall apart because Cap wanted to get with who's that girl with Peggy Carter. Like, we don't want to have this sort of thing. We want to be able to do simple stories. You can do big stories, but you gotta just be able to say, what's the story? Not something that's interconnecting, trying to do that same thing again over and over again. Because you can build to that. Because they were making up as they're going on. They just said, let's show Thanos. And if there's a buzz, we can probably do something with it. And the next thing you know, they slowly developed it. They made something out of it. Because there's one movie where he said, all right, I'll do it myself. And just like he's saying that it don't relate to the movie. It's just like some end scene that people like. So I just think they should concentrate on stories. They did what they had to do, saying, hey, we created, if you remember the Avengers, this was a big thing to say, look at how all that connected. Yes, there's some things that are off, but at the same time, it's just fun. Now just do stories, and then as you go organically, that's how the Dark Phoenix happens. They're like, all right, or even the Kree Skull Wars, like, hey, I want to do something that sprawls all through the Marvel Universe. Let things happen, and then it can get bigger, and it can snowball and snowball. And so I'm not saying, here's the map, and here's this, here's that, and here's the other. It's like, I want to do this movie, that movie, and as you develop it and weave it together, next thing you know, you're leading yourself into the next big story.
And then you wake out of that dream because companies don't work that way. They need a plan, they need a map, and they need a roadmap. And so that's not going to happen, my friend. I'm sorry to tell you that.
No,
auteurs.
No, that's not auteurs. They're saying, this is what happened. They're saying, you had success. So you don't need to sit around and say, well, like the same thing when they said LL was doing his album after Mr. Smith. It's like, we can know the formula. And he's just like, just follow the formula. That gets people to be like, ah. And you can see that happen to people when they're like, they follow the formula to a T. It doesn't work.
Hey, but look, Fox did the same thing with with X-Men. You know, they started saying, "Hey, let's try to do something different. We're gonna go a little weird with what's the name of that movie? The show that they had on Fox about Havoc, not Havoc, Charles Xavier's son. I forgot the name of that one.
And it
You
was
know,
big. It did what three seasons back.
you know, and then they started doing the New Mutants. They wanted to do a little horror for that one. So I get what you're saying, but you know, dude, let's just give us a tried and true. Just do the map. We like the map. We like how it rocks out. Marvel,
Oh,
you know, we're all with you.
you just gotta be, you know what? We have to be non-creative. We have to say, at this point, what's our big story? They got the chart. They got
Non-creative. So basically all the directors, the actors, the people who work on a
yes,
movie,
no, they
you know,
just they
the
don't let
crew,
them do anything.
they're basically all non-creative because for you is not coming up with original ideas. I totally disagree with that. I take offense
I'm not asking them to come with,
being part of that. And if I was a part of the
I'm
Disney
not,
family,
I'm
I
not
would
saying,
condemn you and condemn you again. Okay?
I'm not
A
saying that
pox on all of you,
I'm
bro.
not asking them to create their own things. I'm just saying, let's sit down and say, all right, we have some good thing. We need to bring people back, not saying how much bigger. You can say we got to lead to that because we have a lot of stories we can follow. If we go through it and we say, what's next? We're doing, instead of doing what they're going to plan on doing, like, what's the next what's the next, not what they planned, but they did it anyway. We can't stop them now. Love and Thunder, whatever it is, Thor and whatever it is. So
Let it go, bro. Let it go. Let it go. Let it
like,
go.
you're the one that
Let
won't
it
let it go. I'm
go.
saying that it's
Let
like they
it go.
already proved themselves. Just sort of do movies, and then next thing you know, you can lead to a surprise. Instead of seeing the chart and everyone's like saying, "That's where all the X-Men and Fantastic Four is gonna come and have a big fight. The thing's gonna fight the Hulk. But the Hulk has a broken hand, so he won't be able to win now." Like, what? No, like the Hulk has to get his hand back, his arm back. Can't be, and he can't look like they really did a terrible Professor Hulk. Terrible.
Look fine to me.
Look like Tony Danza to me.
Tony, you need to be calling Marvel to get a check, okay? That's what I would do. So listen, any more do you need to say about Kang, or are we wrapping this bad boy up?
Fun news. That's what I got to say about it. I'm a big fan of Kang.
Lost your audio, bro.
I can still hear me.
Oh, okay, good. As long as you can hear you.
I can hear you. You can hear me. You just responded to that. Didn't you?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yes.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, you want to close it out, sir?
Spin a rock.
Out.